Hello, and welcome to week 3 of me reading excerpts from Argentum song for the month of July, where you have a chance to win some animal card giveaways by replying in the comments to the discussion question that I will give at the end of the video. Okay, this week's excerpt is from chapter 3. I don't think the fires are big enough, Elmo said. Franklin tried to figure out how to convey, in simple enough terms, the concept that there was little to no risk of someone stumbling upon the remains of these wares in the middle of nowhere and doing whatever was required with them to become infected. Certainly there was no justification for delaying the caravan so they could hunt up extra firewood. He was saved the trouble of explaining when Tom stepped in. "Well, that hardly matters now, does it?" Tom said. "You remember old Taurus's necklace, don't you?" Elmo chewed his bottom lip silently. "You said that was fake." "Aye, and I thought it was. Then again, we thought all weird stories were fake, didn't we?" Franklin was tempted to leave well enough alone now that Elmo had shut up, but his curiosity had been piqued. "Who's Taurus, and what's this about his necklace?" Franklin asked. Tom stretched his arms behind his neck and leaned back against a redwood. "Taurus was a no-good thief we were forced to work with until he took a berth in one of your pa's ships as extra security." "Taurus saved our lives," Elmo pointed out. "He was fairly skilled with a glaive, I'll give him that," Tom sniffed, "and it was comforting to have him at your back when trouble broke out. But I don't care what he claimed. Nobody is lucky enough to flip that many bowers in a single night. And it doesn't do much good to have protection at your back if that protection just goes and cheats you out of the silver you risked your life for in the first place." Elmo scowled. "You shouldn't speak ill of the dead." Tom barked a sharp laugh. "I guarantee that my death won't be keeping folks from speaking ill of old Tom, so I don't see why I should have to curb my tongue till that day comes. Still, my debt to the thieving gambler did go down to the bottom of the sea with him. I guess I should let my grudge fall too. Fair is fair." Franklin examined Tom's lined face closely. If he were still at court, he'd have assumed this was some sort of a verbal sparring, a jockeying for position by reminding him of his current predicament, of the merchant ship that Franklin's father had lost to pirates. But Tom and Elmo weren't nearly refined enough to pull off an insult that subtle. Franklin doubted their words carried anything more than the surface meaning. Technically, the pair of guards were free men, while Franklin was an indentured bodyguard. But all three were well aware that their relative positions would be reversed as soon as Franklin's father's second ship came in, and he paid off his debt to Latin. However, just because Tom wasn't intending to insult him, didn't mean that Franklin wasn't going to take some sort of revenge for the slight once he was restored to his rightful position. No need to advertise that in the meantime, though. Careful to keep his full disdain out of his voice, Franklin picked the conversation back up. "That still doesn't explain what this Taurus fellow's necklace has to do with anything." "Taurus had a ware's preserved claw dangling from a chain around his neck," Tom explained. "Or so he claimed. I always thought it must have been taken off, I don't know, some diseased corpse that he found. But after seeing a couple wares with my own eyes, I think I've changed my mind. I remember most barbarians gave Taurus a look of respect when they saw it, too." "Respect?" Tom nodded slowly. "Some would pull out similar necklaces after buying him a drink and swap ware stories. Was quite entertaining. The whole place would be in an uproar by the end of the evening. The barbarians would pick a fight with whichever patron first mocked their story, and before long, huge brawl." Tom paused a moment. "The point is that Taurus must have been scratched by that pointy claw in his necklace from time to time, and he certainly never turned. I don't know what it does take it to turn a man, but I figure it's got to be more than what Simon was trying to scare us into thinking." His eyes twinkled as he looked up at Franklin. "In fact, if I were a younger and braver man with the fencing skills to back up my bluff, I'd be tempted to bring a couple of those claws along and see if I couldn't find a barbarian to teach me how to make my own trophy necklace once we arrived in Fenton. Franklin stood up straighter and drew his saber as he walked towards the flames. He might still be getting used to some of the cultural differences among this class of mercenary, but he recognized a dare when he heard one. And today's discussion question is, what does Russell, or me, what do I want you to understand about Franklin's decision to approach the fire at the end of chapter 3? How is this information communicated? I look forward to hearing your responses. And once again, thanks so much for spending this time with me. Till next time, bye.